Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Overcomaz. This is Marsha and my co-host is Andre, and today we have the prolific YouTuber, the famous DuttyBerry. Welcome, Wagwan.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
So, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Thank you.
I like to still refer to myself as a YouTuber. Some people say social media personality. I've been in the social media space for about 10 years. I started out, I came to, we call it public recognition after doing some review videos of this and Chin on The Voice.
Oh,
And since then, it kind of catapulted me into a part of corporate Jamaica where I was able to, work with several companies like Cran Water, Flow, and just doing my thing, basically just talking people business and talking about current affairs and hot topics, and it's managed to, make a good way for me, a good living for me.
and
Okay.
and that's awesome. That's awesome. So, before you became the man that you are now, tell us about little DuttyBerry.
I was a very shy child, very introverted. I mean, I love the one, but a friend. Well, still don't. I only really associate with people usually because of work. So this new life, Corona thing, kind of depressing, because I'm like, wow, nothing
Yeah.
has changed. I've always been
Ah,
like, wow, I've been living this sad life all along. But yeah, so I like to pretty much like stay home, but I love to read. I was very nerdy. Did love read anything with books and them type of stuff there. I'd like go to the library for fun. They have one library
oh,
named Palmericom Library. So I enjoyed
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Cartoon.
going through an encyclopedia. I love stuff like that. And I was fascinated by people. So, oh yeah, and in the middle of that, now I was, a bit overweight. Love food
really?
and all of that. Yeah, man, those 200 pounds when I was 12. I was,
200 pounds when you are 12 or exaggerate?
no, man, not exaggerating. I went abroad for a while, for about 4 months. And, the first time really I traveled and the food was there. And I made use of it. And I came back to Jamaica and I was just eating. Because they have a
Uh,
big tub. This one of my auntie, they have a big tub of ice cream. Like, it was big
Yeah,
like
man.
that. They were like,
and
yo,
piece
eat
of them big
like,
so. Piece of them
yeah,
big
they're
so.
like, hey, you're here for the summer.
Food.
Eat.
Just eat.
You're not really fussy. Have everything, the pancake, everything. So I get
Yeah,
with.
man.
And so, I was just that child. I was not very popular, but I just loved to read and I was fascinated with pop culture. So things like MTV, BET,
Mm-hmm.
anything,
One
CNN,
out six and
JS.
park and them
I
something like
love to be informed and kind of get to understand like how different people live on societies
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So, going into, I thought I was going to be a doctor and then eventually went to, high school, realized that maybe the doctor thing is not for me. I feel like I'm gradually transitioning into being a creative. And yeah,
Oh.
here I am today.
So, which high school you went to?
Went to Excelsior High and then Middlebrook for 6 months.
you're the second
Ah.
Excelsior high person we actually interviewed back to back
Ah.
actually. So
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Excelsior have the
true. That's
creatives.
true. That's true. The young man
Excelsior
that
have
we.
the creatives for sure.
Yeah,
The,
yeah, for real. It is a school of creatives.
the most I've known about Excelsior, what's that man's name that do the dancing? Or Orville.
Orville.
Orville?
Yes. Let me
Yes.
tell you now, I
Yes.
used to do JCDC in high school. I used to dance.
Mhm.
And every time we compete against Orville, sometimes them beat me by some 1 point. Them always come with some creative stuff. Me used to mad, but me used to admire them, man. Them
Yeah, man, I
can
used to I
dance.
used to see the teaching from them time there, man. Yeah.
So you went to Excelsior, and then after that, Meadowbrook. Then you went to UA. What
Mm-hmm.
was UA like for you?
It wasn't no, you was interesting for me because it was the first time I kind of get a taste of freedom. So it's like my broke out years.
Ah,
Um, but for me, not really broke out. What broke out for me was like, hey, I'm staying out until 10 o'clock.
oh,
Woo! That was like broke out for me. Like, yeah, I'm really giving trouble. Wow, But I never loved. I enjoyed doing it for in terms of like being able to just like socialize and to just meet people from different Caribbean islands and just to have
mm-hmm,
like grown up type of conversation. But when I
mm-hmm.
think about it, like I really wish that I went to UA doing something that I really loved
Oh, you
because I
studied.
went to UA doing sciences with the idea that I was going to be a
Yeah,
doctor.
doctor. Oh,
Okay, the family thing and the parent thing go. And so it was very difficult to have to try to have the conversation and say, finally put your foot down because you know you grow up now, you're becoming a, you know, a man now, and you have to kind of tell your parents that yes, we don't want this, but honestly, I never want to waste. We never want to waste my parents their money because I went there, you know, I was doing sciences and they have a lab where up here. You're doing science, you're in the lab room from like 10 a.m. to like 6 p.m. You're peer labs. And I was doing it and me look at me and say, I know me this, me look at everybody and see them passionate and they're in there.
And I say,
we need a sign. I'm gonna say, boy, I'm gonna try to do the lab nearly bun down the lab. Turn over with the Bunsen burner. I'm gonna say, you know what, Lord, this is the sign. This is the sign. And I say, yeah, man, this is not me for me. And I had a conversation with my parents, and boy, it never really so good at all, man. It never so good. My father, when I told him about the money for to go into med school, he was just like, yeah, man, pursue anything you want to do, man. Like,
hey, but your mother know this happened.
Yeah, my mother was just like, by the hook or the crook, man. We can borrow, we can pass and pray, we can something can work, but the doctor can be in the family. And yeah, so I didn't get to go into Caramap that I originally wanted to do. I wanted to spend a year off, but once again, parents never want that. You have to take a year to just sit down and quote unquote figure your life out. So I had to choose the next best thing was to be going to humanities. And so I just did a degree in humanities, but every day I would be coming to school and be looking at what the kids were doing in Caramap. And and I
got fascinated.
Yes, so I was doing a degree for just go through the motion, but I was really very heavily invested on something else that I wasn't studying. But it was good in terms of just the discipline and just the networking, because while I was there, Crystal Tomlinson was there, Debbie Vissoon, like all of these people.
I know all of these people. I went to you with them too.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, I could have kind of get to see them and, you know, ask questions and rub shoulders and just like stuff like that.
I think the first time I saw you do anything, I don't know if you remember this girl. Her name was Shakira Kane. Her father is like a journalist. I know Shakira. I know Shakira from the KC tree.
The KC tree.
I saw a video with you and her. That's where I saw you for the first time. But I wasn't living in Jamaica at the time. I think I was in Japan at the time, and that is when I saw you at first.
Yeah, man, that's when I was starting out, and I said I want to start my little show, but I was so shy, so I couldn't do anything and put myself in the camera. I had to find somebody for kind of hold on to be like, all right, do something with me. You know them people that who can't sing by themselves, but them good in the choir.
Oh yeah, harmonize.
Yeah, man, I'm one of them people there, like not the solo thing. So like when Shakira was there, Shakira was so comfortable, and you know she was always, you know, I think she was working around Caramap, and so I was like, all right, then she can start to be the confidence, and me just kind of itch up on her.
And your boss and your dropper.
No. Eventually, like just kind of, you know, I
part of the journey for sure. But so what was your big break like?
Breakthrough
what was your big break like? Yeah. Because you mentioned that you started making videos for Tessan, correct?
Well, that's how we started, but that's actually the big break. So I was probably one of the first persons to really be doing YouTube in that serious way in Jamaica, but when it take a while for Boss. So I actually started out the same time as Trabas, but like him did
big.
Because him did launch out, and I remember I used to talk to him and said, boy, he was so passionate. And at the time I was still like, I wonder if I'm gonna do the science thing and do, you know, but he was very all in. I said, boy, I wish we could have the you know, like really commit to it and you know, have the support there like that and have that drive. And so he had his success before me, and it took me probably until 4 years after before I finally, you know, it took me leaving university.
Your formula never worked fast.
No, it was the right time. It just wasn't the right time.
And so it took me, you know, leaving, you know, university, you know, being unemployed, and really just realizing, say, hey, the only thing that I have right now is the idea of this show. I'm gonna say it's the most that I have free time. I think it was 2013 and it hit me, and I say I've always been half committing to this, you know, because it's almost like I'm embarrassed, you know, like you have a little thing and I say, oh, my little fool.
Yeah, because people think say I'm an idiot.
Yeah, so you look at it. You look at it the same way, say, I'm not really ever look at it seriously. And until that year, I was just like, hey, I'm not doing anything. This is the most free time that I'll ever have. I'm going to give myself 1 year to make this into something. Like I need to see something come off it, and then I just go and probably just gonna teach and figure out something, sell back juice or something. And so I started out put on my energy into 2013. I think it have 30 grand.
And a 30 grand, Bernard, a 30
yeah,
grand
man.
dresser.
Roses.
Okay,
I
Rosie.
do a little video, I do a little spoof, and that they get like 50,000 views. And I think I can post it on them fan page. And I see the momentum kind of build, and I do little videos, and me that's talk about like why things Jamaicans, like why are Jamaicans like this, like how always I complain about in a line. I'm see the videos gradually, I build up, but still
The creative process of working, man.
it was man, until it was in September now, when I think I was in Portmore now, and I was coming from, I did buy a party and really kind of broke. And I was having a conversation with my friend. And basically, I did just frustrated now because I was sending out resumes. I was taking off things off my resume and trying to become more competitive. Because, me, I said maybe we can, to the point where my grandmother tried to get me a job, at Island Grill. So I'm poor, their church, outside congregation, any job now. I mean, did willing to say, well, I can't cook in them, not about kitchen, but like I say, well,
You're going to grab a food anglers now.
The food anglers permit and all them somewhere. But it just want to work,
Yeah.
And I was having a conversation, my friend called me when I was coming from, I think it was Spaces or something. I mean, I tell him, say, but I was confess and I say everything. I say, all the time when I invite me out for go to a party, I say, I'm telling you, I'm busy. I broke my rock, honestly.
Oh, you just admit.
But yeah, I could have better keep up on myself. Like, but bro, honestly, I eat more than love to come up, but me not have it right, no one, stuff. And I just say it, I'm going to say, no, I'm going to feel like everything will go all right. And when I went home and I opened my laptop, I remember I just saw this Tessan video with her and somebody else in the voice, and kid you not same time, me hear a little voice just say something like box cover, and me hear something, and me didn't know what it was.
Yes.
Jump and me take my
Start
pen,
of greatness, right?
I get my pen and my book. I'm gonna start writing. It's like hear one voice, but me say I've never said box cover before. I'm writing down.
So there's a box cover come from.
I script it out, and then I did the video. Like I literally, me don't know what happened. Me just hear something. I'm just go with it. I made the adrenaline, and I did the video probably like two hours. But put it out, and in a matter of time, it was 30,000 views. And how the fine voice came, it was because I thought that nobody would listen to me for too long. So I was just like, all right, nobody not gonna listen to me for more than 5 minutes. So the video is over 5 minutes. So if I speed up the video, then it will go under the 5 minutes.
Oh, so you start fine voice and talk fast.
So when I did that now, people thought it was a thing. I'm gonna say, all right, then let me just keep it. Because people just gonna say, okay, so it was just by accident.
If you are work, no break it.
No,
it was just like accident. I'm gonna say, well, all right, let me just work with this.
It work. No, it's so I rather do it, but trust me, like when it's supposed to happen the right way, it happens on the right way. Because you were there waiting for so long, don't have a job. The idea was there enough, but it wasn't the right time to actually push it out. And when the right time came, it just flowed. So and I look at box cover now.
Yeah.